Hey everyone, this is our lesson for section 3.2, which is about parallel lines and transversals. And we have some vocabulary words here which are not new. So we know what corresponding angles are, parallel lines, supplementary angles, and vertical angles. Now we have four theorems today. Those theorems are based on a previous lesson where we talked about different angle relationships. And those angle relationships are corresponding angles, alternate interior angles, and alternate exterior angles. Now, I'm going to stop at those three. If you have any of those three, the idea here is if two parallel lines are cut by a transversal, I'm going to highlight that. Done the thing for all these. So if two parallel lines are cut by a transversal, then we can say the corresponding angles are congruent, then the pair of alternate interior angles are congruent, then the pairs of alternate exterior angles are congruent. If you have any of these three right here, they make congruent angles if you start off with two parallel lines cut by a transversal. And remember that transversal just means a line that intersects both of those parallel lines. The other theorem deals with the consecutive interior angles, and these are supplementary. Now, technically speaking, in a proof, you'd use this theorem to say they're supplementary, and then you'd have to say the definition of supplementary means that we can add their measures together to equal 180 degrees, and then we can do some math from there. Okay, that would be the technicality part. But those are our theorems. They're fairly easy to use, but they are massively important going forward in this class. So let's do some examples. So we have a couple problems here that says we want to find the measures of angle 1 and 2 and tell which theorem we would use. So the measure of angle 1 is going to equal 110 degrees. And the theorems, I want to make sure we're using the new theorems, the theorems that we are talking about in this lesson. So this would be because they are alternate interior angles. And then the measure of angle 2, I know is 110 degrees because it is a corresponding angle, right? Corresponding with the 110 degrees. Now, if I look at number 2, I can say that the measure of angle 1 equals 63 degrees because of the corresponding angles theorem. And then the measure of angle 2 is going to equal 117 degrees because these are consecutive interior angles, and that means they add to make 180. So for example, I can say that 180 minus 63 equals that 117 degrees. That's how I got that. But I can get that because of the consecutive interior angles theorem. And then number 3, I'm not going to say vertical angles for the measure of angle 1. So I'm going to skip and talk about the measure of angle 2 equals 95 degrees because these are corresponding. And then if I know this is 95 degrees, I know 1 is 95 degrees, not because of the vertical angle theorem, but I'm going to say the measure of angle 1 equals 95 degrees because of alternate exterior angles. Now, number 4, same thing. I don't want to use the vertical angle theorem, so I'm not going to say anything about angle 1. I'm talking about the measure of angle 2. That's going to equal 101 degrees because we have corresponding angles. But then measure of angle 1 is equal to 101 degrees because now we have alternate interior angles because number 1 is alternate interior with angle 2. So this last section says, find the value of x, show your steps. Now we can do this in a proof and state what we're doing. I'm just going to say what allows me to write what we have. I can say that x plus 12 equals 110 degrees because these are alternate exterior angles. I might just make that little note here. Alternate exterior allows me. So right now, I'm going to say anything's fair game. Alternate exterior, boom, I can solve and say x equals 98. On number 6, I see these are alternate interior angles, that means I can take 10x minus 55, set it equal to 45 degrees, and I can solve and get x equals 10. I know I'm going through this pretty quick, but I think you can do the algebra. Then let's look at 7 and 8. Number 7, well, we talk about number 6 here. Now, with number 6, I can say that angle 6 is 52 degrees because they're corresponding. Because I have our two parallel lines here. So this is going to be 52 degrees. Now, I know I can say 4x plus 52 equals 180 because they're a linear pair. And I'm going to solve and get x equals 32. Now, with number 8, I can find the measure of angle 2, or I know that because 2x minus 3, I can look at the measure of angle 2, and that's also going to be 2x minus 3 because they're vertical angles. And then I can say 2x minus 3, that angle, plus 153 degrees equals 180 because these are consecutive interior angles. And now when I solve this, I'm going to get x equals 15 degrees. Well, 15. Again, I jumped through, I didn't show all the algebra. It doesn't have to be a long set of notes. I want you to be able to see angle relationships and know, do we set them equal to each other or do we add them to equal 180? And then what property, or sorry, what theorem allows me to do that? Okay. All right. Those are our notes. If you have any questions, reach out. Or if you don't, we'll either see you in class or we'll see you at the next video. Have a great day.